So today we're doing yet another product commercial, and for this one we're going to take a look at a spec ad that I recently made for a non-alcoholic beer brand. And for this one I actually took some inspiration from another creator for a couple of shots, as well as I got to try out the Lumix S5 for this as well. More on that later on in the video. Now as usual I'm going to go over the process of how I got some of the shots, but before jumping into that, here's the final video itself. Alright, the first shot that we're going to talk about is the ice dropping one. Now this one was also the first that was shot using the Lumix S5. Disclaimer, it was not my camera. I borrowed it from a friend and actually had it for just one day, so I had to do everything in that one day. Now the setup for this shot was pretty straightforward. I just took a light stand with a boom arm. After that I took a milk container, emptied it out, cut it open, cleaned it up obviously, and then I just taped it on top of the boom arm using some double-sided tape, which acted as the base for my ice cubes. Now after that I just took a bowl, positioned it so the ice cube was just drop into that, and for the camera positioning I actually wanted to get a upfront perspective so that it would look like that the ice cubes are actually going to fall inside of the lens itself. Now this scene was shot at 180 fps because the Lumix S5 can do up to 180 fps at 1080p, which I don't think there are a lot of cameras out in the market besides something like the FX3 or A7S3 and the new R6 Mark II. There's a lot of options that can do more than 120 fps. Now the image quality was really good. Now Lumix cameras have been known to have really good quality when it comes to video, and it's actually true. The image was nice and sharp, there was not a lot of noise, and it also had a decent amount of dynamic range as well. So after setting everything up, all that was left to do is just drop the ice and get the perfect shot. I don't remember how many trials we did, but I believe it was something like 80, 15 or 20. But in the end, the final shot turned out really good. It's actually my second favorite shot out of the entire sequence. Now the next shot that we're going to talk about is the bottle pouring shot. Now this one was the most challenging one to do. It was also the most fun one to do, and as you can probably tell, it was also my favorite one out of the entire sequence. Now a couple of challenges that I faced while I was doing this shot is first, I only had one of the products left, so I couldn't do any retakes, and I was doing this at 3 in the morning, so I couldn't get any extra product units even if I wanted to. And the other challenge that I faced was I didn't have an appropriate mount that could hold the bottle in position. So what I ended up doing is I took my big clamp mount, I opened it up all the way and put the bottle in between that. After that I took a tape and just went down with it and taped it up as much as I could so that it wouldn't move. And what can I say, tape did its magic again. I somehow managed to mount it up. After that I took that bottle rig thing and I mounted it on my tripod and positioned it the way I wanted. Now there are two methods of getting a shot like this. So the first one is more easier and convenient when if you're doing something like this, is to take the bottle, mount it up, cut it open from the back, position it, and just pour the liquid from behind the bottle. And you can do it as many times as you want. Now the other way is you take the bottle, mount it up, and just open it right at the moment of taking the shot. Now I went with the other way because of a specific reason. So when you're pouring some sort of like a beverage item out of a can or a bottle, you will see that the beverage doesn't fall out smoothly. It has a ripple effect going on because while the drink is coming out of the container, air has to go into it to actually create the circulation and physics and everything. So I wanted to get that ripple effect while the drink was pouring, to get it as natural as I could get. Now one thing I didn't keep in mind while I was doing all of this, moving around the bottle, mounting it up, positioning it around, one thing that I forgot was the carbonation that builds up in a carbonated drink. Because when I opened the bottle up, it exploded everywhere. I'm not kidding, you can see the footage on screen right now. When I opened it, it exploded everywhere, and that was a big surprise. And while it exploded, I hope to God, please, the shot turned out to be somewhat usable. And what can I say, the end shot was just majestic. It looks so good, I'm not gonna lie. Now the opening scene of the bottle looked much better in my opinion than the than the later on pouring angle, but still it looked really good. Turned out to be better than I imagined. Again, the 180 fps of the Lumix S5 came in really handy. There was some after splash on my background in the shot, but I think it looked good. It turned out well, so I'm not going to complain about that. And yeah, that was my favorite one out of the entire sequence. Now the other shot that we're going to talk about is the lemon drop one. So this is one of the shots that I took some inspiration from another creator whose name is Alex Grimma. He makes amazing product videos. Check it out. I'll link up his Instagram in the description. Be sure to check him out. He makes amazing stuff. In one of his videos of a similar product, he did this lemon drop effect where there's a drop falling from an edge of a lime. I tried to recreate that and it was pretty straightforward to do. I just took a lime cut out of wedge and then just use my friction arm to mount it in position. And for lighting, I had to get as much light as I could for this one to add that glow effect to that lime wedge. And for that, what I did is I took my light and added the reflector to focus up the light and get as much output as I could with my SL60W. And yeah, the end shot turned out pretty good. Now this one was shot using my ADD, so I had did it at 60 fps, but still in the end I think it turned out really well. Now the next couple of shots were pretty straightforward. There was this one where I was opening up the bottle and it was like a close-up medium tight shot. It was pretty straightforward to do. I just took the bottle and put it on top of my electronic turntable, and while it was rotating, I tried to get the motion of somewhat like a parallax effect, but I wasn't able to emulate that effect that well. So while it was rotating, I tried to get it in position and open up the bottle cap. I also added the smoke effect that you get when you open up the bottled beverage in post, and I think it turned out well. It looked really good, but not exactly what I expected, but still pretty good. That's pretty much it, I guess. Now this one was really fun to shoot, especially that bottle pouring one, and I really loved this entire video. It has become one of my all-time favorites now. And yeah, that was pretty much it. If you have any questions, just drop them up in the comments below, and yeah, I'll see you all in the next one.